Ben Affleck finally reveals how Blake Lively destroyed everything. Ben Affleck sat down with Joe Rogan in January 2026 and started talking about how Hollywood has dark, fucked up instincts to isolate people. How some people actually get joy watching someone go down. He never named Blake Lively. He didn't have to, because days later, court documents leaked showing that Lively had emailed Affleck, begging for help during her war with Justin Baldoni. She called Baldoni a chaotic clown. She said everyone on his team was in a cult. Affleck's response? Silence. Complete silence. And the emails were just the beginning, because what those court documents revealed about Blake Lively made everyone in Hollywood run. And one Sony executive put it blunter than anyone. She called Blake a fucking terrorist. Her exact words in writing, now sitting in a federal court file. Here's how it all went down. On January 16, 2026, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience to promote their Netflix film The Rip. They were supposed to talk about the movie. Instead, the conversation went somewhere nobody expected. Affleck told Rogan that people have dark, fucked up instincts to isolate people, and that some people get joy out of watching someone else go through public destruction. He said it makes them feel safer because if you can point the finger, everyone's looking over there. Then he got personal. He admitted he was one errant remark away from being canceled and one movie bomb away from never working again. This is a man who went through a tabloid nightmare during his divorce from Jennifer Lopez. He knows what it feels like to have the entire country turn on you overnight. Matt Damon went further. He said some people in Hollywood would prefer to go to jail for 18 months rather than face the permanent consequences of public destruction. He said being canceled just never ends and will follow you to the grave. Yeah, he actually said that, and at the time, people figured they were just talking in general terms. A couple of Hollywood guys venting about the culture. Nobody connected it to anything specific. That lasted about 4 days. Because on January 20, 2026, court documents in Blake Lively's federal lawsuit against Justin Baldoni were unsealed. And buried in those filings was a May 2024 email from Blake Lively to Ben Affleck that was never supposed to see daylight. We'll get to exactly what that email said. Trust me, it's worth the wait. To understand why Blake was emailing Affleck in the first place, you need to know what happened on the set of It Ends With Us. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were supposed to be collaborating on an adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel about domestic violence. Instead, it turned into one of the ugliest production disputes in recent Hollywood memory. In her federal lawsuit filed December 2024, Lively accused Baldoni of repeated sexual harassment during production. She alleged he made inappropriate comments about her body, walked into her trailer while she was undressed, improvised physical contact during intimate scenes without consent, and bit her during a kissing scene. Sound crazy? It gets worse. Things got so bad that in November 2023, Blake drafted a list of 17 demands Baldoni had to sign before she'd return to set. These weren't requests for fancy trailer upgrades. She demanded an intimacy coordinator for all intimate scenes. She demanded Baldoni stop making comments about her body off camera. One demand literally read, no more showing of nude videos or images of women, including the producer's wife, to Blake Lively or crew members. Another demanded no more descriptions of their own genitalia. Baldoni and his producer Jamie Heath signed the list. Their countersuit claims they only did it under duress to save the movie. Now, whether you believe Blake's version or Baldoni's version, what happened next is where things stopped being a he said, she said, and started becoming a full-blown industry meltdown. According to Lively's lawsuit, after she raised concerns about Baldoni's behavior, he and his team launched what her lawyers called a sophisticated press and digital plan to systematically destroy her public image. Baldoni allegedly hired a crisis communications firm run by a PR expert named Jed Wallace, who supposedly weaponized a digital army to flood social media with negative content about Lively. Coordinated accounts pushing the same narratives, hashtags designed to flip public opinion, planted stories framing Blake as the real villain, and honestly, it worked. By the time the movie premiered in August 2024, the internet had completely turned on Blake Lively. She was being dragged for promoting her hair care line during press events for a movie about domestic violence. She was being mocked for her tone. She was being painted as out of touch and selfish. Her Blake Brown hair care sales at Target dropped 87% in just 5 weeks after the film's release. A brand that was projected to do $100 million was suddenly looking at less than $15 million. Now let that number sit for a second. 87% in 5 weeks. The brand damage was devastating enough. Then she started losing her friends. For years, Blake Lively and Taylor Swift were inseparable. Taylor named a character after Blake's daughter. Blake was front row at the Eras tour. Power friendship, the whole thing. According to multiple sources, That friendship effectively fractured. An insider told People magazine that their friendship has halted. Texts unsealed in the court documents showed Taylor telling Blake she'd been feeling a little bit of a shift in the way you talk to me. Baldoni's legal team alleged that Lively essentially tried to pressure Taylor Swift into publicly backing her side of the story. Sources say that deeply frustrated Swift, Gigi Hadid, Cara Delevingne, Sophie Turner, all reportedly distanced themselves. One source directly stated, Cara is no longer friends with Blake. The Swifties? They didn't just distance themselves. They actively boycotted Blake's products. And right in the middle of all this chaos, while her brand was cratering and her friendships were dissolving, Blake made a desperate move. She emailed Ben Affleck, and she emailed Matt Damon's wife, Luciana, too. She was trying to build a coalition of A-list support. Almost none of them wanted anything to do with it. In May 2024, while the war between Lively and Baldoni was still raging behind closed doors, Blake Lively sent a lengthy email to Ben Affleck. Remember, Affleck directed her in The Town back in 2010. They go way back, so she reached out to him directly. In the email, Lively asked Affleck to watch her personal cut of It Ends With Us. She described having to rewrite and restructure the entire script. She called Baldoni a chaotic clown who was acting as director, actor, producer, financier, and studio head all at once. She wrote that everyone Baldoni had on the film is in a cult. This is where it gets really ugly. She told Affleck that if she had just formally directed it, it would have been much easier, but having to troubleshoot through his taste, ego, and pre-existing decisions made it so difficult. And she said that wasn't even touching on any of the wild HR issues. She also encouraged Affleck to have his then-wife Jennifer Lopez watch the film and give her opinion. There's one problem. Ben Affleck never responded. According to the court filings, there is no reply on record. The email went completely into the void, and when sources close to Affleck and Damon spoke to Us Weekly after the documents leaked, their reaction wasn't sympathy, it was frustration. An insider said the feeling is frustration, and that there's a sense of, why am I being dragged into this? The source added that it's created unnecessary stress and irritation, and people feel like it's become a black hole. Matt Damon and his wife Luciana received similar messages. Blake and Ryan Reynolds had apparently reached out to multiple A-listers trying to build support. Damon actually responded, offering Blake the chance to direct a movie with artist equity. He wrote, "We're kind of like a cult, but a really nice one," which, given that Blake had just called Baldoni's team a cult, is either hilarious or deeply ironic, maybe both. So think about this timeline. In May 2024, Blake emails Affleck begging for help. Affleck says nothing. Then in January 2026, Affleck sits down on Joe Rogan and starts talking about people with dark instincts who get joy from watching someone get destroyed. He was talking about the culture. But after those emails leaked, every single person watching that clip heard it differently. And then Sony dropped the hammer. When more court documents surfaced, they revealed what Sony's own executives thought of Blake Lively behind closed doors. And these weren't anonymous leaks. These were emails and depositions. On the record, in a federal court file, Tara Grant, Sony's executive vice president and chief communications officer, wrote that Lively orchestrated all this drama in a totally unsavvy and amateur way and was mad it backfired on her. Sony CEO Tom Rothman wrote that while Lively didn't deserve all the heat she got, she did bring it all on herself by refusing to listen to advice and by selling her products during the press tour for a domestic violence film. And remember that Sony quote I mentioned in the beginning? Here's the full story. Andrea Giannetti, Sony's executive VP of production, confirmed in a deposition that she called Blake Lively a fucking terrorist after learning about the 17 demands, her words, under oath, now permanently part of the public record. I mean, think about that for a second. A senior executive at the studio distributing your movie is calling you a terrorist in writing. That's not a PR problem, that's a career-defining moment, and not the kind you put on a resume. Ryan Reynolds fired back, calling the Sony executives fucking textbook, ineffectual elderly people with no ideas or thoughtful communication skills. He said they were just blunt instruments with 6 catchphrases and about 5 key words, which, fair or not, didn't exactly help Blake's case look less chaotic. So where does all of this stand right now? The trial between Lively and Baldoni is set for May 18, 2026. The original date was March, but the judge pushed it back because of scheduling conflicts with 2 criminal trials. A settlement conference is supposedly happening, but sources close to Lively say nothing has changed, and she's moving forward to trial. Both sides are digging in. Neither is backing down. Lively is suing for nearly $500 million in damages. Baldoni has filed his own countersuit, and there are still sealed documents that haven't been made public yet. Blake Lively went from being one of the most brand-safe celebrities in Hollywood To someone whose name makes studio executives reach for the panic button, her brands took a hit that may never fully recover. Her closest friendships are strained or broken, and the A-listers she reached out to for help either ignored her or are now publicly frustrated that she pulled them in. The trial is set for May 18, 2026. Settlement talks have gone nowhere. Both sides are digging in, and there are still unsealed documents that haven't been made public yet. If you want to know what's in them the moment they drop, hit subscribe. We're covering this one all the way to the verdict.